Hello ladies and gents, it's Hagbard Celine here on another beautiful afternoon, and I have for you a video that I actually got sent and was assured was not a Poe. Now, I didn't believe this assurance, so I looked into it myself, and doing my due diligence, I discovered that I do believe this person is indeed being facetious. I think that they are playing a character over the top in an attempt to mock the fact that people are using fear-mongering tactics. I would actually like you guys to go back and look at the Apple scare that was going on in her previous video, and several of her others, and I'll tell you, if she is not a Poe, she is a lunatic. If she is playing, she is very funny. So, that being said, whether she herself is bullshitting or joking or not is completely irrelevant to the fact that she is indeed quoting a very popular book. What's really important are the arguments that she is picking from this book. This book is a collection of essays by a single author that is based on a blog post, a popular feminist blog post. This book itself is known as a quote-unquote feminist touchstone. Now, along with this video, we are going to be discussing some of the more interesting reviews on the website selling this book. Not everyone responded well to it. Not every feminist responded well to it. As a matter of fact, some people felt lied to, which I think is interesting. But before we go into that, I would like to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, whose name I will not attempt to pronounce in fear of butchering it. I would feel terrible after the effort he went through to create these for me. Instead, I will just put his Twitter handle at the bottom of the screen here, and in the description of this video. And as that is the case, I will from now on be using some form of this in my videos instead of the clear, copyrighted Hagbard that I've been using. That said, I'd like to give a big warm fucking thank you for that. That's the first piece of fan art I've gotten. It's pretty cool. And it will be the new norm. Anyone else who wants to send stuff in, have fun. I'm more than open to it. Let's just roll the tape now.
Hey babies.
Oh yeah, this is gonna hurt.
So, after my Apple scare, the scary realizations continued.
As I said before, I actually advise you go watch her Apple scare video. That's actually the one that made me realize I think she's doing this on purpose, and it's a very good character.
But this time, a little bit closer to home.
Oh, come on. It's 2016. What's closer to home than your cell phone?
That's right. I'm talking about my body.
Girl, look at that body.
It all started last week when I had to read this book in class.
Again, if this is built on a modicum of truth that this person is actually in a class in which they were forced to read this book, this all begins to make sense now.
When it was assigned, I was like, yeah, okay, more feminist writing, which if I ever tried to say I was a feminist when I was a kid, boys would make fun of me, which made me feel bad, so I stopped.
Seriously, and I'm not even joking, if this is a character, fucking bravo, you have nailed it. You have perfectly nailed the oversensitivity, the softness, the inherent weakness that feminists tend to project. This is actually one of the reasons I don't think you're being serious.
But when I started reading this book, I realized why boys didn't like feminism and why that made me feel bad.
The other aspect is, if you look, you can see that she's reading something just to the left of her. And there is no way that this word choice and this inflection being read simultaneously is a mistake. This is a clearly well done character build. You seriously do not write down and then read the sentence, "That made me realize why boys didn't like feminism, and it made me feel bad," with that inflection and it be an accident.
We were following the same ideas that have told boys and girls how to act towards each other basically since the beginning of time.
Yes, biology.
The major problem with that, though, is that it makes boys better than girls and lets them have control over them.
You see what I mean, though, right, ladies and gentlemen? The intentionally childish diction, the intentionally childish inflection, the inherent lack of agency that is in the words when she says makes boys better than girls, which is a statement that I would like to think even most stupid internet feminist wouldn't make. I'm sorry, fam. I'm not going to tell anyone who sent this to me because it was in a private message, but I think you got poed, fam.
What's scary about this, both in my everyday life, I'm now terrified of being raped, and political life, is it makes my body matter less than a boy's because it's female.
You see here, she's explaining that this book has emphasized the fact that she's likely to get raped and that you should make that a political movement. Make the personal political, am I right, lads?
Don't believe me? Let me read you some examples.
Wait, watch this. I caught this during the editing process. I would have perhaps admittedly thought these screen freezes were smarminess, but she appears to be holding back a smile as she delivers that initial part. And then at the end, she forcibly pulls her mouth down and changes the tone of her voice. It's acting. It's not great, but it's pretty well done.
A rape is reported every 6.2 minutes in this country, making the estimated total perhaps 5 times as high, which means that there may very well nearly be a rape a minute in the United States.
I love the use of the shitty wiggle phrase, may very well be, in that previous passage, and even the face she makes here at the end, again, leads me to believe that in spite of the fact that we regularly see much smarm on these videos, I don't think this is pointed in the direction of people that think this is BS. I think this is pointed in the direction of people that buy this shit.
More than 11,766 corpses from domestic violence homicides between 9/11 and 2012 exceed the number of deaths of victims on 9/11 and all American soldiers killed in the War on Terror.
There's that little smile again. I love when people just bandy about statistics like that as though they mean anything whatsoever in and to themselves, as though I couldn't bandy about the statistics about car deaths and we need to have a discussion about that, or the discussion we should have about alcohol use in America and the injuries and deaths it causes. But you see, when we tried to deal with those kind of things through legal manners, they fell a bit short, didn't they?
A woman is beaten every 9 seconds in this country. Spouses are also the leading cause of death for pregnant women in the United States.
If you want more information on that particular statistic, I would strongly advise that you go watch the episode that Teal Deer did, where he addressed that. I don't believe that they're reading these statistics correctly. I'm fairly certain that the way that they came to that was to remove almost all other forms of naturally occurring death. I believe.
So, if, God forbid, I'm raped or killed, it's made okay by our political system that tells girls not to wear this and don't go there, instead of telling boys not to rape.
It's the way that she hits all the points so perfectly, but so absurdly, that there is just no way an actual human being would say these things all at once. In one video. Well, scratch that, we've all seen that.
Also lets Republicans say things like, some girls just rape easy. And yes, Roger Rivard did actually say that. Yes, he did. He did quote his father, who had once said to him that some girls just rape easy as a warning to the fact that women could post hoc remove consent.
That is indeed what he said, yes. He didn't say some girls are easy to rape. The saying actually means some girls will cry rape after consensual sex. This is, again, there's no way that she thinks that that's not the case. There's just no way.
This makes me sad, scared, and angry because I get harassed by guys all the time who think it's normal and okay to comment on my body or appearance like I owe them something.
She means compliments. And again, note that she has to click her eyes to the left. She is fucking reading this.
Even though that group Return to Kings got major crap from the public, their opinions are the same that are protected by our political system.
I'm sorry, but referencing Return to Kings in even a non-serious manner, even if this is a Poe, is a capital offense in which I take your right to speak on my channel from you. So, you're done. Regardless, I do think that this young lady is a Poe, and I do think that she is playing an incredibly good character. She goes on to end this video in a quite humorous manner, saying we need to treat poor people, black people, and women the same. Oh, and children. She adds children on there just to emphasize the fact that we're treating all these groups like children. I'm not convinced this person is not serious. However, the book that she was reading from is deadly serious. And it's quite popular. It's got a 56% positive review rate on Amazon.com. However, some of the lower reviews, ignoring the 1s and 2s that say the typical stuff that you'd expect to hear, the ones specifically saying things like, this is a book about man-hating, why did you do this, why is this book a thing, those kind of things. Your standard internet comments section. I also found some more well-thought-out, well-reasoned, even feminists that were quite upset at the disingenuous nature of this book. So I'm going to quote some of those here at the end. For the record, the book is entitled Men Explain Things to Me, and it is based on a very famous blog post that the author made under this title, and it is a collection of essays on the blog about men mansplaining, and to be condescended to is infuriating to anyone, male, female, child, irrelevant. It is extremely frustrating to be condescended to. However, these people seem to have no problem condescending to us. That being said, the main complaint is as follows. I am just not interested in verbally hashing over a book whose contents belie the title. These people are furious because apparently only the first section of this book is even about mansplaining or being condescended to, which is an issue. The rest of it is that which was read by our young guest today. It was essentially saying men are bad, men are rapists. In a recent review from August 21st of last year, entitled Explain Why This Made It to Publication by a one Robin Orlinsky, says, of course, violence against women is an ongoing and very serious problem. I'm a good feminist, so I'm familiar with all of the current statistics. And I know that my experience with women's studies are not the norm. Hence, the author was trying to sell to the masses through the quote-unquote cute title. It misfired big time. I did not find it misleading. I found it annoying and vague. Lindsay writes, in September, I enjoyed maybe 3 chapters of this book. Others were a little too much for me. I consider myself a feminist, but I personally try not to be judgmental about others' beliefs. I felt like this book was shaming men for being men. There are some men who are rapists or chauvinists or whatever terrible thing you could say about them, but that should not be generalized to all men. That is doing the same thing to women, using a negative aspect of one woman and generalizing it to all women. Thank you, Lindsay. All of us out there do appreciate that you can see that. In March of 2015, a one Amanda, about halfway through her review of the book, says, I wanted to read a book about condescension, not a book about assault, sexual or otherwise. And I find only the first essay, reprinted from the web, is about an experience of being patronized in the patriarchy. Come on, Amanda, you're almost awake. You're so close. To me, the book read like a hasty collection of previously written essays collected and published under the title of a viral blog post written in 2008, if I remember correctly, and republished in 2012, whereupon it somehow started to get shared and shared, in order to take advantage of the incoming tide of popularity. You're being accused of writing a money grab, dear. And in one reasonable male review, I bought this book to challenge my normal reading patterns, so take this review however you'd like. I honestly expected a book about men's ramblings on things from a woman's perspective, a corrective book that I was hoping to be somewhat humbling and eye-opening. I hear men say a lot of things and always wonder how women feel about it. Needless to say, this book is not that at all. It's mostly an essay riddling off facts and incidents from all over the world. It seems to be tied in with a bit of poetic mantra about what women should be, without really offering much of a resolution. Shocking, you mean it doesn't offer any real-world strategies to battle any of the issues that it brings up, because if it did, it would actually solve some of the problems that it's pointing to, and they could no longer make money by writing these types of books. So basically, as I said, I believe that this person actually made this video to bring attention to this piece of shit republishing book. And I'm glad that she did. And if she wasn't joking and this wasn't a Poe, she's a lunatic. Either way, I hope you guys had fun with this video. I'll see you all on Monday. And another big shout out to Banky Slap. Thanks, man. I'll see all you next week. Goodbye and be safe out there.